I'm delighted to be here. Sound Pure is such a perfect spot for Santa Cruz guitars to be. It's really a different, not only a different presentation for a music store, but it's a different paradigm of how guitars are presented. The art of Luthiery, and it is an art as well as a science, is very different from what happens in modern building. My purpose in being here today is to demystify Luthiery for you, because that's what we do. We're not guitar manufacturers, we're luthiers. And you've heard a lot of stuff on the internet and forums, magazines about guitars and what makes them sound the way they do. And my promise to you today is to give you physics rather than my opinion. You know, a guitar is a really neat thing. And with a guitar, with a cheap guitar, somebody can write a song to attract a spouse for life. They can compose a song that tells a story that can change international borders. So guitars are a cool thing. And I take the time to do that because I want to let you know I'm not dismissing factory-made stuff when I talk about what we do, because it has its place. So take that assembling pre-made parts back to the composition of a guitar from the master luthier. The way those notes are made is by working a piece of wood thicker or thinner. Instead of measuring it, actually coming up with a sound and a feel as opposed to a measurement. And that's the secret. There's one of the first trade secrets to Luthiery. To make a really sophisticated instrument, you compose it like you would a chord on a piano. And by that I mean that each component can be an actual frequency or a note, and when you put them together, according to music theory, the vibrational lengths complement each other, and when the strings put that into motion, it allows the energy to last a long time, which is sustain, which is desirable, and it also develops overtones, or a multitude of notes around the fundamental, so it's rich and full and piano-like. When you play an instrument that lacks sustain or overtones, it's simple, it dies quickly, and it's not inspiring. But when you play an instrument that's rich, full, and seemingly limitless, you'll write songs. You know, you'll play things that you've never played before, and you'll get inspired, and you'll have a depth of enjoyment that not only is good for you, but good for the people around you. The woods are a huge part of the sound of your guitar. And here's where a lot of mythology comes in about, I want a real big bass, so I'm gonna get Brazilian rosewood. Not so. The woods contribute to the tone of the guitar. And remember, tone was the bright or dark, not the bass or treble. And I'll go into that. This beautiful spruce from the border of Switzerland and Italy is where the Stradivari and those guys got their woods. It's really clean and bright. If we use a Sitka or a cedar, we'll get a warmer, rounder tone. So woods contribute tone to the guitar, not bass or treble. Rosewood, warm, maple, bright, mahogany in the middle. When it comes to spruces, Sitka spruce, warm, Adirondack, bright, Italian, even brighter. So these are ways to control the tone knob on your guitar. The way that we control the balance or the EQ, you have a graphic equalizer at home that allows you to change the relative volume of bass, treble, and mid-range. If you want a loud bass, let's do guitar playing. If you're a bluegrass player, you probably want a predominant bass. If you're a fingerstyle jazz player, you'd hate that guitar. You know, you'd like it very nice and even. That's done by manipulating the wood. And so let's take a second on that. I talked about tone in the wood. This top, again, was thickness not to a measurement, but to a feel. And we know if we're doing this as a standard model, we know the criteria we want. If we're doing it for a custom model, in this case, let's make up a story. It's pretty true, by the way. This customer wants a very clean, bright tone, but predominant bass in his EQ, the bass a little bit high. And so we chose the wood for the tone, but we're going to start to manipulate for that EQ or balance. And here's another Luthiery trick for you, is on this guitar top, what we want to know is what the guy wants to hear in tone, but also what's EQ. And in this case, the guy's right-handed. So we have treble strings on this side, bass strings on this side. So we're going to predispose this top to treble and bass in the proportions that this guy wants to hear. So listen to this. It's high and low throughout this. So that's done by not making this a standard thickness or even a uniform thickness. It's actually graduated like a violin top to get that proportion of bass and treble. Now this takes time to do and it adds cost to the guitar, but that's the kind of stuff you do to get the sophistication that we're after. So what old guitars, violins, pre-war Martins are really desirable because they sound better. Did those guys know something back then that we don't know today? Maybe, but not likely. The nature of humans and practice over generations is you get better, not worse. What did those instruments have? One of the big secrets to the Stradivarius violin or the pre-war Martin is wood gets better with age. The wood, once it's removed from the living tree, the tree sap, the resins begin a process of polymerization. It's not drying and hardening, it's a chemical change that happens. And 10, 15, 20, 100 years from the living tree, the wood starts to sound remarkable. What we do is we can't make an instrument and put it on a shelf and give it to you in 100 years, but what we can do is we can cheat and acquire wood that's really old to start with. There's three things that make an old guitar sound better than new. We got one of them, which was how the old wood sounds better. So that time does that. And the other one is tension. If I was trying to hit a deadline and make a steel string acoustic in 7.5 hours, I'd move quick. And I'm not going to let things sit around. So I would be building tensions into this instrument. I could get the sides off the mold while they're still hot and damp, but I can put them in a form. I can put together this guitar, it'll stay put, but it's under tension. And it can take years and years and years for those tensions to relax enough for the instrument to be fully resonant. So that's another reason that older guitars begin to sound better with age. And then there's, the dedamping. So we do the first two. We do the old wood, and we do the building with the absence of tension. And we get so much effect of that, I'm going to say we probably get 80 to 90% of the old effect to it, that the remaining dedamping effect isn't worth our trouble. We'll leave that to you when you play the guitar. Last thing too is it's not because we're smart, it's not because we're cool, it's because what we learned from other people, that this teamwork thing that we do is greater than the sum of the parts. The only reason that I don't build guitars on my own is because I'm not good enough alone to achieve the quality that we have. I built on my own for some years until I realized I'm never going to get good at this. I don't have a long enough time in my life to do this. But if I work with other people, we can learn faster and we can do more experiments. This whole idea of going from an individual builder to a team, keeping the Luthiery stuff in mind, is really the birth of what we call the boutique guitar building. And I'm not taking credit for that. When an idea is right, it happens around the world. It's a simultaneous discovery. But I'd like to emphasize those points with you. Whatever you guys do, do your best, give more than you get, and you'll be rich. Thanks.